For the last year, we've been bringing you stories of good companies doing some amazing things here in Minnesota, and they have all shared their secrets to success, which is fun to hear. For example, the founder of the multi-million-dollar company My Pillow, you've seen those commercials. He said you have really got to learn your craft, and then you've got to go all in.
Got to be all in.
That's right.
No backup plan. Well, Sunrise Banks agrees with some of that message and wants to help you turn those ideas, jotted down on paper, into your very own small business. So if you have that little idea in your head, you don't want to turn the channel. We want to welcome Sunrise Banks CEO David Reiling to Twin Cities Live. Nice to see
David.
you.
Hello. So what's special about this time right now that we are in that makes it a great time to start a small business?
Well, it's always a great time to start a small business, particularly now with interest rates being low, the economy coming around. But I think even more importantly, in Minnesota, there are so many great resources to start a business, whether it's collaborative communities, new crowdfunding laws that have just passed, all sorts of support for new businesses coming out. So
you say it can be a little tricky to actually estimate exactly how much you're going to need to start a business. Do a lot of people come to you with an idea and they kind of think, okay, I'm going to need $10,000 to start this business when they really need more like $50,000?
Sure, that happens all the time. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's the great rule of thumb that it costs twice as much and it takes twice as long to start up a business. And I think that's wrong. The fact is, I think it takes 3 times the amount of money and 3 times the amount of effort. But the fact is that there's plenty of resources out there. And quite frankly, when people start a business, a lot of times they focus in on the fact that it's going to cost a lot of money. Usually starting that business, though, is really about them pursuing their dreams and their passions, and it's less about the money. And so when we talk about them about loans and equity and raising their business, it's really more about their passions and bringing those dreams to life.
Well, it's nice that you're realistic about that, too, about saying, you know what, I really think that this is probably what it's going to cost you, so that people aren't shocked and they
better to know that at the beginning, too, than opposed to be halfway down that lane.
Totally.
Also, IT, I didn't know this. I know there are different industries here in the Twin Cities which are strong. IT didn't automatically come to mind, but that's a booming industry for us.
Yes, IT, and this is not Silicon Valley, it's not Austin, Texas, it's right here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, right.
And as a matter of fact, last month Forbes rated Minnesota as the fastest growing jobs for IT.
Oh, cool.
It's amazing. Wow. And so we have some great examples, quite frankly, of IT companies here. Great customer of Sunrise Banks is Atomic Data.
Yeah, tell us about them.
So, custom IT solutions, both locally for small companies as well as large.
Oh my gosh, what a cool space.
Is that a club? Is that a nightclub? Can you get drinks there?
And they've really been growing, huh?
They've been growing really fast. So they've been growing over 100% for the past 3 years.
Wow.
On Inc. Magazine's fastest private growth companies. In offices all around the world.
Okay, so maybe IT isn't what you're really interested in. Tell us about this example of this all-natural pet food company that you guys helped.
Absolutely,
because
we always talk about IT and you think of Steve Jobs and Apple and so forth, but let's talk about nutrient-rich raw pet food and dog treats or pet treats. And so Sojourner Farms or Sojos produces organic dog treats, as you see there, as well as, and you might think that, oh yes, they're in Whole Foods, which they are, but they're also in our organic stores all across the world.
Okay, so what comes along with a company like Sojos, I mean, you see this video and you see what's happening, you see the people there, but then you also see the machinery. So investing in that equipment, I mean, that's a lot, and that is what can take, your recipe that you're super passionate about, that you sell out of at the church bake sale, to something bigger when it comes to distribution, and you guys help finance that equipment, right?
Absolutely, and that's where Sunrise comes in as that financing partner, if you will, to take those dreams and to get that capacity to where they produce that product, not only to sell it to places like Whole Foods, but globally.
Yeah.
So when people are trying to get these loans, there are 2 specific things that you're really looking at, is that right? And what are those?
Sure, those 2 specific things, and as you might expect, a banker is going to look at that business cash flow and how well that business is doing, but we're also going to take a look at what the plan is. And sometimes people can get wound up in this, a strategic plan or a business plan. It's actually quite simple. If people really assess where they are today, where they want to go, how they're going to get there, and how they're going to measure that progress, if we have that story, then we can figure out the financing and help them get to where they want to go.
Oh, look at that. So that's important to really, if you're thinking at home, okay, I've got this idea, I know I want to start this kind of business, to have those questions answered.
Yep.
Do you recommend people write it down or have a conversation with their family, really talk it out?
Absolutely. Just simply go through and give yourself, to start with, 60 seconds to answer those questions. Sometimes right off the top of your head is the most organic and honest approach to answering those questions, and then develop them from there. You don't have to go too far.
So is it almost like a little bit of a sales pitch that they want to come with, or some form of a presentation if they need $100,000 invested in their company and they're coming to you guys? Should they view that as a presentation?
They should. And you know what? It always helps if they come with a bit of confidence, and most entrepreneurs do come with a whole lot of confidence.
They got it in droves.
These are the best brownies ever!
So it is a telltale sign of someone comes fairly sheepishly and says, you know, I need $100,000, I think. The fact is we can help them walk through to what dollar amount they really do need. Sure. As a matter of fact, a lot of times they underestimate the amount of resources we talked about before that they really need to grow and sustain that business.
Okay, so there are some other resources that can help you out, right? Like Coco in Northeast Minneapolis. This is interesting.
Absolutely. So Coco is a collaborative and co-working space. I love going there. And it's not just a space where you go and you're with other entrepreneurs. It's a whole energy and the vibe in this space. You're sharing ideas, you're networking.
So what does this mean for someone who wants to start a small business? They become a member of this place?
Correct.
And then they're able to utilize it?
Then they're able to utilize it. So you could be sitting across the table with someone who's in IT or in organic pet food, and you're sharing ideas and stories as to how you're successful or what problems you may need to solve.
And then you're not paying a high price rent of
You're not paying a high price.
Yeah.
And then the idea of getting those connections of networking and sort of iron sharpens iron, and you've got a lot of hungry entrepreneurs in that space.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, Coco even has a camp if you want to go and express your ideas and look to take your business to the next level.
Camp Coco?
Yeah, Camp Coco.
Do they have t-shirts?
I love that.
And free cocoa,
That would be
maybe?
wonderful.
Okay, and then a couple publications that you think that if you're interested in starting a small business, these are a couple that you should be reviewing.
Yeah, the ones that I love the most are Fast Company, and it sounds kind of hoity-toity, but it's the Harvard Business Review.
Oh, it totally sounds hoity-toity,
Yeah, it does.
David.
David, would you
killing
like
us.
a pipe while you talk about it?
The smoking jacket. Harvard Business Review for me is like the National Geographic when I was a kid. I save them on the wall, so it's that geeky. So sorry.
So those are good ones to check out. Look, it's
now
very
we know.
motivating. That's
Yeah,
awesome, David.
that's good
Thank you
stuff.
so much. So if you want to know more about how Sunrise Banks can help you launch your small business, we posted a link at twincitieslive.com. We also want to thank Sunrise Banks for sponsoring the show. See you soon,
Thank you,
David.
David.
Thank you.
Coming up next, a group of moms are celebrating their bodies post-baby with some images I guarantee you are going to inspire